This video is a response to a particular subgroup, a cult, on the internet. American Christians. They're usually evangelicals. They are usually apocalyptics. And if you talk to them long enough, especially if they get drunk, they'll tell you that they want the world to end and everybody else to be punished. And if they can cause it to happen, they will. That's an extremely bold statement by me. The trouble is, that matches up with pretty much every one of them that gets really annoying in the comment section. Why is this video being posted? To deliberately antagonize that kind of person so they show their true colors to every one of you who watch with them. And I want you to take to heart what they say. When people show you what they are, not who they are, believe it. In 2003, in the Delphi case, the defense is claimed to have said something along the lines of seeing in Odin We Trust patches on 2 of the prison guards, or whatever you want to call them, in September. And the prosecutor claimed they wore Odin patches in October. These are assertions third and second hand stated, or not. Or someone's misreading it and the prosecutor said, the claim that they wore Odin patches came from the defense, or, more accurately, from the defendant. Guards later removed the patches on order by their commanders. If you're not aware of it, if you work in a police environment, if you work in a prison or jail, or in anything connected to anything involving taxpayer money, when you are in charge of such a thing, if you see anything like that, yes, I'm criticizing literally every police department, you walk up to them as the commanding officer and say, you're not working and you're not getting paid and you're on leave for 2 weeks and I'm going to point at the 3 things or whatever is on them and I'm going to explain to you, you don't get to do that. You don't have a right to free speech or freedom of expression while wearing the uniform of the city, county, and state you're in. You are not permitted to do it. It's taxpayer money. Don't do it again. If you mouth off, you're barred. Now, you may have noticed that I'm the kind of person that would literally fire half the cops in Portland, Oregon, and make them stop being literally a danger to the public. It's not defund the police, it's fire the bastards. If you're in a prison and dealing with the massive variety of crazy or just scared people in a prison, do not, under any conditions, take a uniform, which is supposed to be consistent, and alter it in any goddamn way. You want no surprises. Everyone is supposed to see you as a cookie cutter of every other prison guard, or every other, whatever you want to call yourself. And if you're police officers, the same thing. Well, I want to personalize. You're not permitted to. That's the end of the discussion. You get no paycheck until you sign a piece of paper saying you acknowledge this reprimand. Every police department used to be this way. You hide your tattoos. You can have your cop stash. That's about it. With or without mustache, you keep your hair cut the same way every time. Self-expression. Does anybody remember the 1950s and 60s cops that were stereotypically one particular pattern? On order of the commanders, later or previous to this, the guards removed the patches as soon as it was pointed out. It's 2 human beings, 2 individuals, confirmed by the defense and the prosecution. Yes, the defense is not required to tell the truth any more than the prosecutor. But the defense has a very good reason to just make shit up by saying, my client said he saw XYZ, and again, it's asserted the prosecutor acknowledged this. All right. We're at the 4-minute and 20-second mark. Ding. Where was this published that is directly from the defense and directly from the prosecutor? If they both agree that it was said, and they both agree what the other person said, that makes it to where they're witnessing each other. Get out the spray paint, witness me. Now, why am I saying this? Are you getting it from a podcast where someone misread something? A while ago, someone decided that non sequitur and non secular meant something to them and decided it's all about devil worshippers. And now it has to be about Odin worshippers. Or Norse symbolism, which is literally all over the place among various groups. So let me explain this to you. All right? It was non sequitur, not non-secular. Why would someone say, I found a non-secular symbol at a crime scene? Because they didn't. I found things at the crime scene that were non sequiturs. Someone's using a wording that may be unfamiliar with you. Look up non sequitur. No, I don't want to hear it. No. Look up non sequitur. And now do we rationalize that it has to say non-secular, which doesn't mean what you think it means? Yes, that's a Princess Bride reference. All right, fine. Cops stated, they're prison guards, but we can call them cops. Well, they're law enforcement. Yes. And technically, a couple of people who put parking tickets in New York with a parking meter thing, they're technically police officers too. But it's the meter maid, okay? These are prison guards. 2 of them out of however many people in the entire police department, and if you want to call them police officers. Well, they're not really part of the police department. Then stop calling them cops. If you want to include all of the people who are involved in law enforcement in the area, now it's a tiny percentage. Does 2 cops saying that they wore an Odin We Trust patch on their uniform equal all cops are devil worshippers? How did we jump to devil worshippers, and how is it all cops? And then someone saying, yeah, we're privy to sources you're not. No, you're not, because I'm citing your sources that got caught lying, mishearing things that anybody else can decode if you just give us your sources, which you won't, because you are liars. I believe in a God, therefore I'm allowed to lie because it's called a noble or pious lie. That's not something that happens in our group. Okay, how many times did you catch Jimmy Swaggart or any other televangelist lying? This isn't the Reagan doctrine where you can't criticize everybody or anybody within your own political party. That was thrown out of the window a while ago. You can all watch the Republican Party chew each other apart. Democrats do this all the time. That's why Democrats can't get shit done. And honestly, I think we're all better off when it's like that. When they're fighting amongst themselves, maybe they'll leave the rest of our population in this country alone. But when you catch your heroes doing non-heroic things, you're not allowed to duck the question. So let's go from the beginning. Look up on Google, in Odin We Trust. You can put quotes around it or not. Image search. Which patch was seen? If you don't think it's important, you're deliberately ignoring the fact that you're making this very important and making 2 people represent all police officers, so all the cops are suddenly devil worshippers. When it's convenient to someone making an assertion, they will decide that 2 people are representative of everybody, but not right now. Okay. Oh, you don't believe that you catching your own preachers doing something morally wrong and actually having evidence against them should be taken into account, but people merely asserting that every liberal is a devil worshiper, that's acceptable. I'm not talking to the normal people watching my channel. I'm talking to you bastards that are playing politics. You're playing propaganda. Your religion doesn't exist anymore. You're political wrangling. You're doing why we have separation of church and state for everybody's benefit. It's protection from the Roman Church. The Vatican does not control the United States, neither does your church. Shut up. Shut up. There, I've antagonized everybody enough. Are we all angry? Everybody cat-like typing? That'll just drive up the ranking for the video. Which patch did it have, and what is the specific meaning? Do you know which one? No. Are you going to get a podcaster to guess at it? Are you going to get a description? Or are you going to get a picture? Well, there's a video of it. Then get which patch it is. Is it universally understood to mean something? You can get patches that are rockers that go on the back of your jacket that indicate that you're part of one group or another that would call themselves a motorcycle gang. And it's a really good way to get your ass kicked. Don't do that. However, you can get ones that are neutral, and they're like grannies for gearboxes or something like that. There are Odin patches that have been adopted by just picking them out of a lineup of things to use to identify themselves as part of gangs, not cults. But what about Hillary's emails too? I want you to start being more specific. Don't come to my channel saying you've done your research and say you're privy to secret information and then say you're not going to tell me about it, because I guess you'd have to kill me, right? Or you could just say, I don't know. Also, claim a Purdue professor told law enforcement the crime scene had Norse symbolism. I've gone over this before. Pieces of wood laying on the ground in a pattern that does not match anything you're talking about isn't Norse symbolism. The defense attorney is desperately trying to blame an opponent or any group or use satanic ritual abuse claims. If that lawyer can appeal to any group of people that will scream loudly on the internet, he's going to do it. What evidence is there against the guy they caught? A cartridge that only goes to a gun that he owns was found at the scene. It could have been dropped months before by accident. He could have been futzing with his gun and had to unjam it. He might have just had it in his pocket. He could have just said, yeah, I was walking along the river there a couple of months before. I don't know if I lost a cartridge. Here's the rest of them. There should be 20. Oh, there's 19. Well, okay, I bought the box several months before this happened. Is that what happened? Is that the argument? No, all they're saying is we found a cartridge at the scene, an unfired, unspent bullet. People keep using various terminology that only would fit into his gun. Now, of course, I've done a video about that. And it's an extremely weak piece of evidence because the cartridge could have been, dropped out of his gun when he was on the bridge and he got kicked there, or someone picked it up and putzed around with it and tossed it, or threw it from the bridge to the location, which is more likely. If I was the defense attorney, I'd say, can you prove that it came out of his gun there? We still haven't been told all the details. They're not releasing that information. Now, there's two reasons for doing that. One, they don't want to screw up the pool of jurors. If you heard, they were shot each once. Each victim was shot once with a gun. Okay. And the cartridge casings matched? Well, there weren't any cartridge casings, but there was an unfired cartridge. That's a little suspicious. That would indicate the gun jammed and he had to unjam it, which is kind of common, honestly, with semi-autos if you don't have the really good ammo. What brand of ammo? What was the grain weight? Give me the details. Do any of you have that? No. So that's the thing. We are in a vacuum. No information here. Just like every other goddamn case. The other reason they're not going to tell anybody is, what if he's not guilty, he's judged not guilty, and they still have to go about the process of finding the guilty party. But oh no, let's skip all of the basics like, what was the grain weight of the bullet? What was the grain weight of the charge? What brand of cartridge? What exact year for the gun? Did he change out the barrel, which includes the chamber, which would have the marks on it? If he did all this, if he did the murder with a gun, why didn't he change that out? We don't have any of the details. But anyway, they would use this information later to go after somebody else. It's been too many years. They found someone who's very likely it. At least there's something connecting him. And if I was the defense attorney, I'd say, it's happenstance the cartridge is there. It could have been tossed from the bridge. Other problem, apparently he confessed all this. But suddenly it's a variation on the moral panic bullshit of ritual satanic abuse. That's literally what this is about. From somebody wearing an Odin patch, that's what you guys are calling it, to it has to be devil worshippers and all the cops are devil worshippers. And none of that is rational. When you come to the channel with rational arguments of actual evidence that is not in question, that would be handy. Coming here to insult me, to play dominant and submission, honey, I charge for that. Put on your high heels before you do this to me. Okay? Now, that's the end of the video, and if you're offended, that was the point. Goodbye.